Hey guys, what's up? So, when last we left off, I was talking about Rifts, one of my favorite role-playing games, a decent, really good setting, yet a very flawed game engine. And when we last left off, I was talking about how we were in the middle of our McGregorville campaign, and we had just escaped from a prison camp, and ended up in an independent town somewhere on the outskirts of the Coalition. And I'm going to try to rush through this because there were a lot of details that happened, and as long as this next part's going to be, I don't want to make it too long. So, I shouldn't say needless. Several months went by. And the reason why several months went by instead of a few days is because we found out that things have kind of changed since we left the prison camp. See, when we got out and made it to that town and were getting healed up and all that, we found out that, yeah, the Coalition indeed did go to the site of McGregorville. They got our distress call and rushed down there to take care of the problem. And what they found there was, of course, a massacre. Town mostly wiped out, except for the few survivors up in the mountain area. You know, Kurt's gone rogue with his killer robots and stuff everywhere, you know, running that Coalition base like it was his personal castle. Now, this was something of a scandal for the Coalition. The last thing they wanted their people to know or think was that one of their own can suddenly go rogue like this and worse, join the dark side, you know, whatever shit that he was fucking with, right? So, to cover the whole thing up, they decided to blame the whole McGregorville mess on us. Yeah. Yeah. They changed the details and changed the story and basically said that yes, there was a massacre in McGregorville and we're handling the situation, but two of the people responsible were these two troops who bungled things badly. They're criminal elements and they must be taken out. Anyone who sees them, we want them dead or alive. And you might be thinking, and I was even thinking, wait a second. It would be a scandal if the public finds out that Kurtz went rogue, but it's not a scandal if we went rogue. And he goes, well, you're just squad leaders. You're like grunts. Nobody really gives a fuck. But somebody at Kurtz's level going nuts, that's a scandal. You guys could just be simply portrayed as, you know, just criminal scum who somehow got within the ranks, who decided to go crazy and went through wanton murder. You know, maybe they even are trying to portray you as juicers who went nuts. Juicers, by the way, in the Rifts world are these guys who... There were many different ways that people were trying to compete with these supernatural things that they were going up against. One of the ways was, of course, through technology and cybernetics. Another way was through drugs, which is where the juicers came in. They came up with these new medications and these new drugs that they give to select troops, and it just like gives them super strength, hyper senses, reflexes, all that type of stuff. But now they're addicted to these drugs. They need them all the time to keep the strength up and keep their gung ho attitude, to keep going. And it shortens your lifespan considerably. Like there are hardly any users that make it to the age of 30, if at all. You know, even like 25, 23. Like those things really wreak havoc on your body. And so since they know that they have short lifespans, and since juicers tend to be kind of almost suicidal in a way. Like they just jump into the craziest battles and, you know, handle the biggest threats. This is like, you know, die young, die hard, die fast, you know, that sort of thing. So, but juicers are also known for going crazy. So that is, maybe those guys were juicers or something, went crazy, wiped out the town. Like maybe that's how they're portraying it. But no matter how they're portraying it, they pinned the whole thing on me and Paul. And it was, we want these guys dead or alive. Needless to say, we needed to change our identities fast. So we stayed in that outlying town before moving on to another town. And this was the point where we were able to change our class, aka occupation, our OCCs. So it was like, I think about like several months to about a year or so where we pick up the story. Like Dan pretty much, you know, further down the timeline. My character became a cyber knight. Those of you who know Rifts know who they are. For the uninitiated, think of Jedi but with cybernetics and a slightly different code of ethics, and you kind of have an idea of what a cyber knight is. And their main thing is they don't use lightsabers, they use psychic swords. Don't look at me, I didn't make this stuff up. So my character basically became that, but he became something of a, like, I don't want to say a gray Cyber Knight, because the Cyber Knights tend to have a very strict code of honor and all chivalrous. And since my character had already been a Coalition grunt, he was disillusioned with the Coalition anyway. I had established that when I first started the game. But, you know, he was still a soldier. He was still, you know, Special Forces. And so he kind of had a little bit more of a gray outlook on the world. So even though my character was a Cyber Knight and he was essentially a good guy, you know, he wasn't, like... The best way I can describe it is... the Palladium books don't have the same type of alignment, what you call moral alignment system that games like D&D have. Like everybody knows the alignment system of D&D, where you got your good, neutral, and evil axis, and then you have your lawful, neutral, and chaotic axis, and you just mix them up. My character would probably be considered a chaotic good character using that system, if that makes any sense. So that's how he was. Now, Paul, on the other hand, since the very beginning, he was just pretty much borderline psychotic. Like, he liked playing this character that just loved getting into battles and shooting and killing and, like, I live for this shit. Like, almost a Conan type, but with guns. He's like, I kill, I slay, and I am content. Like, that's the type of dude he was playing as. So, it's kind of funny to me that, you know, despite that was the character he was playing, he constantly kept having bad luck and kept getting fucked up over and over again. But one thing that he had always wanted was, he had always wanted major cybernetics. Like, I want to get, like, you know, guns for arms and stuff like that. And of course, being a Coalition, you know, Special Forces dude, he didn't exactly have access to that yet. But, you know, he at least had the Coalition armor, so that was good enough, or at least we thought it was before he got his ass kicked all the time. But now that we were changing our identities, he's like, yo, this would be a really good time for me to be a full conversion cyborg, right? I mean, what better way to conceal my identity? If I become a full conversion cyborg, I will look like who I look like, I can change my voice, all that. And Dan was like, you know what? You got it. Now, how he was able to justify that, because it costs a lot of freaking money to be able to do that. The thing is, we kind of went to another particular town, which was sort of an independent city-state type area. Small, not under the Coalition, but still willing. It's like, it was like a country that, look, we want to be our kind of own independent thing, but we will still give tribute to the Coalition so that you guys don't come over and steamroll over us. And we'll be kind of like your eyes on the border in case we see anything wrong. Anything going apeshit, we will let you know. So that later on when you want to make moves and expand the Empire, we'll help you out with that. And that was the kind of deal that they sort of had, as far as I remember it. And of course they had their own money. And since we sold our, like, oh, you guys are ex-Coalition, that'll be great. We would be, you know, we would love to have you guys as our, you know, personal, you know, part of our militia. And, you know, to do work for us, you know, odd jobs, do military hits, things like that. You know, protect the town, defend it, scout around, things like that. And as part of, like, Paul was able to negotiate with the leader of the town to, like, I can help you out better if you will pay for my, listen, my body's banged up anyway, I'm missing hands, all this type of stuff. My body's fucked. Make me a full conversion cyborg, and the guy agreed to it. So, Paul was in heaven. He was like, holy shit. I even drew, like, how he wanted to look, like he's in a big hulking red thing with a cloak over him to hide the fact that he just looked like a giant, before you would pull the hood back and you'd, like, see the almost new skull-like, you know, cybernetic face and helmet and stuff, and big-ass cannon guns. Like, just like, he was living the dream. He couldn't wait to start fucking shit up, right? But Dan, our ever-sadistic GM, had a catch. Threw him a little bit of a curveball. See, they were willing to make him a full conversion cyborg, but it cost a lot of money to do that, obviously. And yes, we said that he also pledged his services to that town, but they had to make sure that he would still remain in this dude's debt, in that you know, that the leader's debt of that town. I'll just call him a mayor. You know, he had to be in that mayor's debt. So, what they did to ensure his loyalty is that they put a freaking morality chip in his head so that he couldn't just commit random acts of violence just to keep him in check. He had, like, he could fight when he was supposed to and he could fight under orders, but he couldn't just start going crazy killing shit. Because they could kind of tell that he was a little bit of a loose cannon anyway, So they put a morality chip in him so that anytime he was about to do anything crazy, his body would lock up. And you wouldn't be able to fight for, I think, like 15 minutes or some shit like that. Like, he would just freeze. His whole body would just freeze. I was like, oh, man. Paul was not happy with that bit of news. So, but, I mean, he was happy at least he was at least happy he was a full conversion cyborg and, you know, had all the benefits of that. So, there's that. You know, he had the whole, you know, brain and... It was the whole Ghost in the Shell sort of situation where his brain and his spinal column and his nervous system was now put into this new cybernetic body. So, our characters were, you know, doing these jobs for this town, and this one particular day they were hearing about some disturbing reports several towns down about some weird invading force that was just wiping shit out. And they wanted us to, like, investigate. That's all they wanted us to do. They wanted us to find out, okay, what's going on down there? And is it heading our way? You're just there to investigate and to scout around. You are not there to engage the enemy, whoever it is. Just go down there, figure out what's going on, and rush back and report to us, and then we'll plan from there. Simple reconnaissance mission. So we head to the outskirts of the really, just, you know, immediately rushing to the fucked up areas. And there was like this eerie feeling that we were getting as we got closer and closer to the scenes of, you know, the reports of violence that we're hearing about. Like, other towns somewhere nearby were kind of reporting, yeah, it's weird, they just seem to come out of nowhere, and, like, you know, we were hearing this strange report of rifts opening up and these things just coming out. And we're like, demons? Like, no, like, just robots. Like, skeleton robots. And we're like, oh, fuck. Oh, God, no. Seriously? Really? We should have known. We were getting inklings that, yeah, let's just make a long story short. Yeah, it was fucking cursed. We found out it was cursed. He was able to recover, do what the hell he was doing in all this time while we were recovering, and now he was beginning to strike back hard in, you know, in the wasteland areas and kind of causing chaos and building up whatever the hell he was building up out there. We were pretty much able to confirm it by the time we got to the scenes of the crime, like seeing these devastated towns all burned out and shelled and fucked up and stuff. And we're like, we're not going to stay and fight whatever the hell is causing this. We're going to rush back now. And there were signs that it was heading closer to the town that we were giving our services to. Oh, and by the way, Dan was also evil enough to every town that we were passing through, we kept hearing stuff about, yeah, this is almost like McGregorville. You guys hear about McGregorville? Yeah, that was messed up. That was really messed up. I hope they catch those guys. You know, just to keep fucking with us. He had to keep having that talk happening in almost every town that we were in. So, I think, I forgot exactly how this happened, but we ended up picking up another scouting party. Like, apparently the mayor had already sent another scouting party, but they had never made it back. And we found them. Like, they were busy being, like, ambushed by, like, a small contingent of, I think it was cybernetic soldiers? I'm not too sure. But we were able to rescue them. Like, we were like we were in a shelled out town, and we're hearing the sounds of like shooting and stuff. And we decided to investigate because the shooting, yeah, was sounding crazy, but it didn't sound like a huge army. It just sounded like a bit of a skirmish. And we were like checking, is it pirates? Is it scavengers? Is it Mad Max type people? You know, like whatever. No, we're seeing it's those same cybernetic soldier type things, and they're like trying to, you know, kill this other band of guys. And we were able to take those things down, and it was another squad party, and they were the ones who were able to confirm to us that, yeah, we're seeing these cybernetic, you know, skeleton things coming through, these skeleton army guys, along with what looks like coalition troops, but their armor was different. Like, it was, like, modified differently, but you could tell it was modified from, you know, coalition armor, so we're like, shit, it's Kurtz. So, and it was like the squad leader was a she. She was able to, like, pretty much say that, yeah, they are, you know, it looks like they're coming this way. But they were from this town, this town, this town, this town. You can draw lines heading this way. So we're like, shit, we need to rush back. So we're trying to head back as fast as possible, right? All of us, me, Paul, our 4 guys. By the way, those 4 guys that were with us, the 4 people left out of our entire squad from the first part of our campaign, were still with us. For some strange reason, despite all the death and all the people that have gotten killed and destroyed in the campaign so far, these 4 guys kept living. They just always lived. Every time we rolled the dice, they somehow made it through. So we actually gave them names. Like they became our favorite squad. Like these are our core men. These are the dudes that will be with us through thick and thin. We can depend on them. They stayed with us the whole way through. So it was me, Paul, our 4 guys, and then this new woman we picked up with her scouting party. So that's like her and another 2 people. And we're trying to rush back. And this is where things really started to get screwed up, and I really began to see just how messed up of a GM Dan really was. We were getting close to, getting back to our hometown. We had to spend the night in this, other town that looked shelled out. So we made camp that night because we were real tired. We needed to rest. They needed to rest. They needed to recover. So we made camp, and we all took turns, keeping guard, because we didn't want to get ambushed. And it was Paul's turn to keep guard. So the rest of us are asleep. He's keeping watch. And then that's when, of course, Dan tells him to, see if you can observe anything, roll the dice, see if you notice anything. And he noticed some weird noise happening in another part of the camp. So he heads there, and he sees the other 2 people that were with her. They had apparently woken up because they heard the noise too, so they were trying to investigate. And then Dan sees this shadow just come out of nowhere and just hack this dude in half. Just fucking bulldozer the guy. And then knock the other guy into the air, jump up, and then fuck him up with another blow and then land. What kind of weird anime shit is this? He's like, I rolled the dice, it worked. I'm just, oh my God. So Dan immediately, pulls his big ass freaking plasma rifle out and is ready to start shooting, and then he gets a good look at who the attacker is. And as soon as he does, that's when Dan goes, alright, time to roll for sanity. The fuck? It's time for you to roll for sanity. Well, what the fuck did I just say? Roll for sanity, Dan. I mean, roll for Paul. Sorry, so roll for sanity, Paul. So, he rolls the dice, and it wasn't enough for him to go completely insane, thankfully, but it was enough to unnerve him. He said, that's good, because the guy you see when you get a good look at him, what you're seeing is yourself. What the fuck, yo, man? I'm seeing myself. Like, you became a full conversion cyborg, right? Yeah. So what do you think happened to your body? Dan is a really sadistic bastard. I think I've already stated this several times, and I think you guys are already getting the hint. This is what Dan came up with. After Paul became a full conversion cyborg, he goes, okay, what happened to your body, right? Apparently, someone, and we still don't know to this day who it was, had gotten a hold of his body, had put some cybernetic replacements to his hands and healed it up, and put a crazy juicer's brain in that body's head, and reanimated him, and like made him a whole new juicer, and convinced the dude that he would, like, when he reanimated his body, Paul's original body, he then convinced the person who was now occupying this body that that person wasn't really his own self, that he was actually Paul's body, like, come back to life to get revenge on Paul for abandoning him. I know that sounds nuts, but that's what he came up with. Like, the guy was like, yo, I was looking for you. You abandoned me. You left me to die. Yeah. So, yeah. Paul, both his character and he himself are freaking out. It's like, what the fuck? Really? What the fuck? He, of course, starts trying to shoot the guy. The guy is, like, dodging shit because he's a juicer. And whacks him a couple of times and is like, not yet. I'm not going to destroy you yet. I'm going to deal with you soon, because they're making enough noise that the rest of us are beginning to wake up like, what the fuck's going on? And Dan's body escapes. So we're like, what? Who the hell does this? Like, who? We never found out. Though I have a suspicion that this was probably Kurt's, because Paul was giving us hints that Kurtz never forgot the people that busted into his base and almost killed him, and that he's been looking for us ever since. So I have a funny feeling he might have been behind that whole body thing, but I will not know for sure. And I need to ask. I mean, I know. I need to ask him again. Like it was his campaign. It's been many years since we've done this, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I should ask him to find out. But yeah, so now we're really freaked out because we know that this army or whatever is coming our way. Plus now we got Paul's body running around, you know, wanting revenge for being left behind. So it's like, okay, this shit's getting too weird and it's getting too real. We need to go. So we just packed up our shit. Fuck waiting for daybreak. Let's just go. So there was another crazy encounter also because as we were running ahead, we were getting closer to town. We found another town that was already fucked up. We're like, wait a minute, how did this army get ahead of us? And it turned out there was another squad that had kind of got past us, like sending like scouting parties to do like preliminary damage and scouting around. Because there was a battle going on in this other area too that we just kind of like quickly fought through, but we didn't like fight through it to take them out. It was more like fighting our way just to get back to home base. And at one point, I was hearing calls for help in this one building. And I ran into the building and I see a locked door and I'm hearing the calls for help. But then I'm like, wait a minute, let me roll, you know, like for observation of perception. And I could tell something was wrong. Like something didn't exactly sit right about what was going to be behind that door. Like I was like, this feels like a setup. I don't really think there's anybody calling for help in here. So at the last minute, I decided, you know what? This isn't my priority. And this is probably a trap. I'm getting the fuck out. And I didn't open the door. I just ran back down and said, no, we gotta go now. And it turned out that was a good thing because Dan later confided in me way after the campaign was over when we weren't able to continue playing because we had all split up, whatever. He later on confided in me that there was a mind melter waiting for me behind the door. So yeah, I narrowly escaped death. Yeah, a mind melter against, I think, a level 3 or level 4, whatever. We make it back to home base, make it back to our hometown. And we know that it's imminent that Kurtz's forces are like right behind us. Like they're going to be there within like a day, maybe half a day, they're going to be there. So we were like, shit. Do we stay and fight or do we get the fuck out of here? Because these people don't stand a chance. And I'm thinking, okay, we need to finish our mission. They need to know what's going on. That's what we were hired for. I mean, my character is not a bastard. After all, I am playing a knight and I'm playing a guy with some scruples. So he's like, we need to let them know what's going on. We need to let them know that, you know, it looks like Kurtz's men are coming here. They need to get their defenses up and they need to get ready to fight. If need be, call the coalition for help. Do whatever it takes. So we do just that. We get over to the mayor and we're like, yo, they're coming. You got maybe a day, maybe less, probably half a day most likely, before they are here. So you need to contact the coalition, get them down here to help you, and you need to set up your defenses immediately. And he was like, yeah, you know what? Thanks for telling me. We were already beginning to build our defenses up anyway because we were hearing rumors about what the hell was going on. And you know, after you went out, we heard even more stuff, and we were not going to take any chances. So we're already on high alert. Now we'll get the militia ready and everything, and I'll call the coalition right away. And then Paul goes, yeah. By the way, we need to get at least an aerial view of things so that we can let you know when you're coming in. So you mind if can we use one of your aerial transports right now so we can just quickly get a good aerial view on how quickly they are? Because we want to give you a precise, we need to give you the information you need to let them know when they're coming. And the mayor's like, sure, grab, we got an air transport over there ready and fueled up. Let's go over there, get in the air, give me some air reconnaissance. So we run out there, and Paul immediately runs over to his bunk and grabs all his shit and starts throwing it to the transport. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. That's what I'm doing. And I'm like, wait a second. Did you say you were going to help defend these guys? And he's like, yo. Jehu was actually the name of my character. He's like, Jehu, we're not going to make it if we stay here. Come on. You know we're not gonna make it. We're staying here. Look, I would have taken out this bastard just like you. But if we stay here to defend against these guys, we die. And besides, if we do stay, he's calling the coalition. Don't you think they're gonna probably figure out who the fuck we are if we stay here? We need to go. I was sort of against the first part of the argument, but hearing about the coalition coming in, yeah, that convinced me. And the woman that we had picked up overheard us yelling, and she's like, you know what? I'm coming with you. I saw what those guys could do. Take me with you. So all of us pile in there. Me, Paul, the woman, and our 4 guys. We jump into transport, we lift up, and we take off just in time to see them coming over the horizon. Let's just go take this out. And we just say, fuck it. Turned that thing around and just took off in a different direction. And that's where our campaign ended. We were so ready, me and Paul were so ready to continue this, because it's like, oh man, this is getting high stakes, this is nuts. And it looks like Kurtz may have a hard-on for us, but we were never able to finish from that point on. Like, from that point on, like, I was going to college at the time, and I just started some new classes. Dan had some stuff on his own, and Paul wasn't able to make it as much as he used to, so the whole thing just fell apart from that point on. But Dan did let drop that he had some more evil shit waiting for us that was even worse than what we had already gone through. And as much as that horrifies me, really horrifies me, because I mean, you already heard what we went through. I kind of wish we did, because that would have made this an even crazier story than it is now. But unfortunately, this is where it ends. This is pretty much where we left off, with our characters just saying fuck it and running for the hills, saying we will figure out another way to, we will fight another day. We can't take them on now. So, cowardly? Yeah, but hey, my character's still alive. Damn it. So if I want to bring him back later on and continue this campaign by myself, or like start it with somebody else, I could. Just need Dan's permission or something. Anyway, that's the story. That's the McGregorville story. I'm glad to have finally shared this with you, because I personally found it to be an entertaining story. I don't know if I was able to convey the desperation of this very well. I hope I did. I hope I was able to convey the humor of this story. You know, because it's one thing for me to tell you guys a story, but it was another thing to play it. Like, it was something else to play it. I really wish, you know, it's one of those you had to be there sort of things, but it's, yeah, I'm hoping I was able, because, you know, when I told my other friends the story, they were laughing and you know, in shock, you know, just pretty much almost as much as I was when I was going through it. Like, what, seriously? What the fuck? Like, so I'm hoping you guys had a similar reaction, because it is an entertaining tale, at least to me. So. Alright, that's it. Next week, back to martial arts. And I already got a topic ready for that one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. Until then, you guys take care. Catch you later.